WWE just gave us the most stacked episode of NXT in 2026, and I am furious that the mainstream wrestling media is ignoring it while obsessing over Raw and SmackDown drama. The 24th of February 2026 featured Trick Williams defending the NXT Championship against Lexis King in a controversial finish. Lola Vice and Shayna Baszler going to war in an underground fight. Ethan Page continuing his undefeated streak, and Kelani Jordan proving why she's the future of women's wrestling. And here's what has me absolutely enraged: while AJ Styles was burying WrestleMania on Raw and Dustin Rhodes was burning bridges on Twitter, NXT was quietly delivering the best in-ring action in all of WWE, yet nobody is talking about it because Triple H's developmental brand doesn't get the respect it deserves. If you think NXT is just a minor league show, or if you know it's delivering main event quality, drop your take in the comments right now, because what I'm about to count down will show you why February 24 TH's NXT was better than anything Raw or SmackDown has done in months. Before we dive into the top 10, let me set the stage for why this episode was so important. NXT in 2026 is in a weird place. It's no longer the black and gold brand that hardcore fans loved, but it's also not the NXT 2.0 colorful reboot anymore. It's evolved into something in between: a genuine third brand with its own identity, its own championships, and its own stars who aren't just waiting to get called up. The 24th of February episode aired from the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, and it was loaded with storyline progression heading toward NXT Stand and Deliver during WrestleMania 42 weekend in Las Vegas. First trivia question for the comments: NXT Stand and Deliver will take place during WrestleMania 42 weekend in Las Vegas. Can you name the venue where Stand and Deliver traditionally takes place during WrestleMania weekend? Drop your answer below. Now let's count down the top 10 moments from the 24th of February 2026. 10. Adriana Rizzo confronts Fallon Henley. Kicking off our countdown at 10, we had a heated backstage confrontation that's building toward what could be NXT's next breakout women's feud. Adriana Rizzo, one of NXT's newest signings from the independent scene, confronted Fallon Henley backstage and challenged her to a match. Henley, who's been struggling to find her footing since losing the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships, looked shocked that someone would call her out so directly. Why this moment matters: Adriana Rizzo is being positioned as NXT's next fearless rookie who isn't intimidated by established names. This is the exact formula that made wrestlers like Rhea Ripley and Roxanne Perez into stars. Fallon Henley's response: "You don't know what you're asking for," was perfect heel delivery. She's transitioning from underdog babyface to confident borderline arrogant veteran, and it's working. This confrontation sets up a match for next week's NXT, and based on the crowd reaction during the segment, fans are invested in seeing these two collide. Prediction: Rizzo wins next week in an upset, establishing herself as a rising star while Henley's heel turn continues. 9. Hank Walker and Tank Ledger tag team chemistry. At 9, we got a great tag team match that showcased NXT's commitment to building new tag teams from the ground up. Hank Walker and Tank Ledger defeated Miles Bourne and Tavian Heights in a hard-hitting 8-minute match that had the Performance Center crowd chanting for both teams. Why this matters: WWE's main roster has a terrible track record of building tag teams. They just throw random singles wrestlers together and hope for the best. But NXT is doing it right with Walker and Ledger. These two have chemistry, they have complementary styles. Walker is the powerhouse, Ledger is the technical wrestler. They have matching gear, they have team moves. The finish saw Walker hit a devastating clothesline on Bourne, followed by Ledger locking in a crossface for the submission. Perfect tag team storytelling. Second question: Hank Walker is a former college football player who played which position before becoming a wrestler? Answer in the comments. Look, I know 9 seems low for a good tag match, but trust me, the stuff coming up is that much better. Walker and Ledger are going to be NXT Tag Team Champions by Stand and Deliver, mark my words. 8. J. Yvonne Evans promo package. At 8, we got a phenomenal video package highlighting J. Yvonne Evans' journey from NXT to qualifying for the Elimination Chamber. The package showed Evans' early struggles in NXT, his breakout performances, his shock victory over Gunther and Dominic Mysterio to qualify for Chamber, his goal to become the youngest world champion in WWE history, breaking Randy Orton's record. This wasn't just a generic "here's what happened" video package, this was storytelling. It showed Evans watching old Randy Orton matches as a kid. It showed him training at the Performance Center. It showed his family reacting to his Chamber qualification. Why this moment matters: NXT is doing something smart. They are celebrating their talent even after they move to the main roster. J. Yvonne Evans is technically a Raw superstar now, but NXT is still claiming him as one of ours. This creates pride in the NXT brand. It tells current NXT wrestlers if you succeed here, you'll succeed everywhere. The package ended with Evans saying, "I'm not just representing myself at Elimination Chamber, I'm representing everyone who ever doubted that NXT could produce a world champion." Chills. 7. Nikita Lyons returns from injury. At 7 we got a surprise return that has massive implications for the NXT women's division. Nikita Lyons, who's been out since October 2025 with a knee injury, made her shocking return by attacking Jackie Jane during Jane's match against Brinley Reese. The crowd erupted. Lyons hit her signature hip attack on Jane, then grabbed a microphone and said, "I've been gone for 4 months watching you run your mouth about being the real star of NXT. Well, I'm back and I'm taking everything from you." Why this moment matters. Nikita Lyons was on the verge of a huge push before her injury. She was in the NXT Women's Championship picture. She was getting reactions. She was over. And WWE did the right thing. They didn't forget about her. They brought her back with purpose. She's immediately in a feud with Heat. She's immediately relevant. 3rd question. Nikita Lyons was trained at which WWE Performance Center before signing with NXT? Drop your answer below. Compare this to how WWE handles main roster returns. They bring people back with no direction, have them wrestle random matches for weeks, then figure out a storyline. NXT does it backwards, the right way. Storyline first, matches second. Lyons vs Jane is going to be fire, and I expect this to build toward a big match at Stand and Deliver. 6. Lexis King's post-match attack on Trick Williams. At 6, we need to talk about what happened after the main event, which we'll get to later. After Trick Williams successfully defended the NXT Championship against Lexis King in a controversial finish, King snapped. He grabbed a steel chair and brutally attacked Williams while he was celebrating. King hit Williams with 5 chair shots to the back. Then he grabbed the NXT Championship belt, held it above Williams' fallen body, and screamed, "This should be mine. I deserve this." Security rushed out to pull King away, but the damage was done. Williams was helped to the back by officials. Why this moment matters. This is textbook heel-turn storytelling. Lexis King has been a cocky, arrogant heel, but he's been losing. Fans were starting to see him as a loser. This attack changes everything. Now King is dangerous. Now King is desperate. Now King is someone you can't take lightly. This sets up a rematch, likely in a no disqualification match where King can't claim the finish was controversial. The crowd was chanting "You deserve it" at Williams while booing King. Perfect heat. 4th question. Lexis King is the son of which WWE Hall of Famer? Name the legendary wrestler who is Lexis King's father. 5. Ethan Page stays undefeated. At 5 we witnessed Ethan Page extend his NXT undefeated streak to an absurd number by defeating Axiom in what was supposed to be Axiom's comeback moment. Axiom, who's been struggling with an identity crisis storyline, challenged Page, believing this would be the match that turned his career around. Nope. Ethan Page won clean in 12 minutes with the Ego's Edge, his spinning side slam finisher. After the match, Page grabbed a microphone and cut a scathing promo. "Everyone in this company keeps talking about potential and the future and building stars. But you know what? I am a star. I've been a star for 20 years on the independents. I was a star in Impact. I was a star in AEW, and now I'm proving I'm a star in NXT. So stop asking me when my moment will come. My moment is right now." Why this matters. Ethan Page's undefeated streak is getting to the point where it has to lead somewhere big. He's beaten everyone at some point. WWE needs to either put the NXT Championship on him, or have him lose in a massive upset that creates a new star. The problem is, if they keep this going too long without payoff, fans will turn on him the way they turned on Goldberg's WCW streak when it went on too long. But for now, Page is money. His promos are fantastic. His matches are great, and he's making everyone he wrestles look good even in defeat. 4. Kelani Jordan wins one contender match. At 4 we had what might be the match of the night, a fatal 4-way to determine the one contender for the NXT Women's Championship. The match featured Kelani Jordan, Brinley Reese, Ren Sinclair, Carmen Petrovic. All 4 women worked their asses off for 15 minutes in a match that had the Performance Center crowd on their feet. Kelani Jordan won by pinning Brinley Reese after hitting a beautiful 450 splash. After the match, NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez came out and the two had a tense stare-up in the ring. Why this moment matters. Kelani Jordan is 23 years old and has been training for less than 3 years. She's a former track and field athlete who's picked up wrestling insanely fast. And WWE is smart to push her now while she's young, athletic, and improving every week. The Perez vs Jordan match is going to be incredible whenever they pull the trigger on it. Probably Stand and Deliver. 5th question. Kelani Jordan was a track and field athlete before wrestling. Which specific event did she specialize in? Answer in the comments. What I loved about this segment was that all 4 women got to showcase their skills. Nobody looked weak. This wasn't 3 people stand around while 2 fight, this was everyone working. Brinley Reese hit a beautiful moonsault that should have won, but Jordan broke it up. Ren Sinclair locked in a crossface that looked brutal before Petrovic broke it up. Carmen Petrovic hit a roundhouse kick that knocked Reese loopy. This is how you build multiple stars at once. 3 Lola Vice vs Shayna Baszler underground fight. At 3 we need to talk about the most controversial match of the night, Lola Vice vs Shayna Baszler in an underground fight. This wasn't a traditional wrestling match, this was MMA style. No ropes, no turnbuckles, just a ring with padded walls. Submission and knockout victories only. Lola Vice, a legit MMA fighter before wrestling, and Shayna Baszler, former UFC fighter, beat the hell out of each other for 10 minutes. Baszler won with her signature rear naked choke, but both women looked like stars. Why this moment matters: this was NXT taking a risk. Underground fights are polarizing. Some fans love the realism. Some fans hate that it doesn't feel like wrestling. I'm in the love it camp. Here's why. It differentiates NXT from Raw and SmackDown. This is something you can't see on the main roster. It plays to both women's strengths. Vice and Baszler are legit fighters, why not showcase that? It creates buzz. This match got people talking. It protects both women. Vice lost but looked tough as hell. Baszler won but had to work for it. 6th question. Shayna Baszler fought in the UFC before joining WWE. Can you name her MMA record? Wins, losses? Drop your guess below. The post-match angle was perfect. Vice refused medical attention and walked out on her own power, showing respect for Baszler with a nod. This is how you build a rivalry with layers. They fought. They respect each other. But the feud isn't over because Vice will want a rematch under traditional rules. 2. A Bar Femi confrontation segment. At 2 we had the most talked about segment of the night. A Bar Femi appeared via satellite and called out the entire NXT roster. Femi, who vacated the NXT Championship in January and is now a free agent being courted by Raw and SmackDown, appeared on the big screen and said, "I've been watching NXT for the past month, and I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that I held that championship. I'm embarrassed that I'm associated with this brand because right now, NXT is weak, the champion is weak, the challengers are weak, everyone is weak. I built NXT. I made that championship matter. And now it's an afterthought. So here's my message: whoever wins that title, just know that you'll never be the champion I was. You'll never reach my level, and when I return to NXT as a main roster star, I'm taking that title back just to prove that none of you deserved it." The crowd booed. NXT champion Trick Williams came out and challenged Femi to come back and face him. But Femi laughed and said, "I don't wrestle in the minor leagues anymore." Why this moment matters: this is brilliant storytelling. A Bar Femi left NXT on top. He vacated as undefeated champion. And now he's using that to establish himself as better than everyone still in NXT. This creates heat on Femi. Fans want to see him get beaten. Motivation for current NXT stars: prove Femi wrong. A future match when Femi eventually returns. 7th question. A Bar Femi vacated the NXT Championship on what date in January 2026? Name the specific date he relinquished the title. The only reason this segment is 2 instead of 1 is because it was all talk. It was great talk, but it wasn't in-ring action. An hour 1 moment absolutely delivered in the ring. 1. Trick Williams vs Lexis King NXT Championship match. And at 1, the must-see moment of the 24th of February 2026, Trick Williams defending the NXT Championship against Lexis King in a match that had controversy, drama, and incredible wrestling. The match went 18 minutes and was absolutely fantastic. Both men worked their asses off. King controlled most of the match, working over Williams' leg to set up his figure 4 submission. Williams made his comeback with his signature offense clotheslines, cyclone kick, and the trick shot knee. The controversy came at the finish. Williams hit the trick shot and went for the pin. The referee counted 1, 2, and King's foot was clearly on the bottom rope, but the referee didn't see it and counted 3. Williams celebrated. The crowd was conflicted. Some cheered for the champion, some booed the bad finish. King immediately protested, showing replays on the big screen proving his foot was on the rope. General manager Ava came out and said she'd review the footage and make a decision next week. Why this is the one moment this finish accomplished so much. Williams retains but with an asterisk, keeps him strong but creates doubt. King has legitimate reason to demand a rematch. He was robbed. Next week's show has a must-see segment, Ava's decision. The feud continues with more heat. It sets up multiple possible directions: rematch, triple threat if someone else gets involved, tournament for vacant title if it's overturned. Final question. Trick Williams won the NXT Championship by defeating Ilja Dragunov at which NXT Premium Live event? Name the event where Trick became champion. The best part after Ava left, King attacked Williams. Hour 6 moment which makes the controversial finish even more meaningful. King isn't just mad about losing his snap because he was cheated. This is professional wrestling at its finest. Controversial finishes can be lazy booking, but when done right with purpose and follow through, they are incredible storytelling tools. Honorable mentions. Before we wrap up, let me give quick shout-outs to moments that almost made the top 10. Danny Palmer backstage interview where she called out the entire women's division. Ridge Holland squash match that continues his monster push. Sol Ruka injury update confirming she'll be back next month. Dragon Lee appearance hyping his mentor role with AJ Styles. Final thoughts why NXT deserves more respect. Look, I started this video furious that nobody is talking about how good NXT is right now, and after going through these top 10 moments, I hope you understand why I'm frustrated. NXT on the 24th of February 2026 delivered multiple great matches, compelling storylines, controversial finishes done right, star-making moments, variety MMA fight, traditional wrestling, promos, returns. Meanwhile, Raw is struggling with WrestleMania ticket sales and AJ Styles is burying the show. SmackDown is dealing with Drew McIntyre drama, and NXT is quietly putting on the best wrestling in WWE. If you're not watching NXT, you're missing out on the future of WWE. Trick Williams, Kelani Jordan, Ethan Page, Obafemi. These aren't developmental talent, these are main event stars being forged in the fires of NXT. Smash that like button if you agree NXT deserves more respect. Subscribe to Wrestling Zone 1 for the most in-depth wrestling analysis. And drop your takes. What was your favorite moment from the 24th of February? Did I rank them correctly? Let's get this comment section fired up because NXT is must-watch television and it's time everyone started paying attention. I'll catch you in the next one.